When we talk about the lesson of the circle and the coordinate plane, we need to remember always the equation of the circle, which is written like this: x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared is equal to r squared. That's the equation of the circle. So when we compare, if you want to get the radius or the center of the circle, we need always to choose this equation, or to replace the numbers in this equation. So we just compare the given equation with this formula. So x minus 2 is written here, squared, plus y plus 3 all squared is equal to 25. This is our equation, and the question asks about the center of this circle. So we're just comparing. We have h is equal to 2 and k is equal to -3, because negative h is equal to -2, which means canceling negative and negative, h is equal to 2. Negative k is equal to +3, which means that k is equal to -3. We always change the signs. So change the sign of this to be +2, change the sign of this to be -3. That's how to get the center. So 2 and -3, which is the letter C. Of course, if the question asks about the radius, we need always to compare between these two values. R squared is equal to 25. If you want to get the R, the radius, we get the square root of 25. Of course, the positive one, because we don't have a negative radius in a circle. So the square root of 25 is equal to 5. And if the question asks about let's say the diameter, for example, diameter is the double of the radius, which is 10. If the question asks about the area, we need to remember the formula of the area, pi r squared, which means pi times r, which is 5 squared, to be 25 pi. Or the question asks about the circumference, for example, because the circumference has another formula, which is 2 pi r. 2 pi multiplied by 5, in this case, it will be 10 pi, and so on. So our answer of the question is 2 and -3, letter C. And in the questions of the circle, which don't talk about a coordinate plane, it's just a circle, and ask about the angles inside the circles, we need to consider something very important. This angle here is called an inscribed angle. Inscribed angle is equal to half of the measure of the arc that includes the angle. So this angle includes this arc here, AC. And the measure of the angle AC, what measure of the arc AC is equal to 130 degrees, which means that the measure of this angle is half of 130, which is 65 degrees here. And this also has a relationship between, we have another relationship between the inscribed angle and the central angle. So this is the central angle, which is written in the center of the circle. If this arc has a measure of 130, this angle, which is the central angle, measures also 130. So whenever the central angle you have has an opposite arc, which measures 130, the measure of the central angle is 130, which means the inscribed angle is always equal to half of the central angle, which contain the same arc. So when I ask about the angle B, we get the value of 65, which is letter C. If the question asks about angle AOC, the measure then will be 130 degrees. In this question also, we discuss the same concept, which is the relationship between the central angle B and the inscribed angle D, because both of these angles contain the same arc AC. So whenever we have a central angle like B, which is equal to 30 degrees, D will be equal to half of this 30, which is equal to 15 degrees. So remember that inscribed angle is always measuring half of the central one. So the central is the angle that has a vertex on the center of the circle, which is like B. And D is inscribed because the point or the vertex of the angle is on the circle itself, not in the center, not on the center, it's on that circle. And because both of them contain the same arc, we need to apply this rule, which is the inscribed angles always have the measure of the the central angle, which is 30. So we have 15 as our answer.